I think we all underestimate the impact of the fourth industrial revolution. This will be, apart from, let's say, geopolitical developments and so on, this will be the big challenge of humankind in the coming years.
Thank you very much. No, that was a much needed and much appreciated statement of your view of the world. I think right now there's a danger that so much of the narrative out there, whether from journalists or political leaders, is one that takes a form of, sometimes people think of it as offensive realism, that changes in the world will be constantly met with only conflict. And your vision of how we need to construct architectures for cooperation are greatly valued and very much needed. I would like to come back to your large vision of geopolitics, but I also want to act as a little bit of a friendly critic on the book, because I think everybody should pick it up and read it, and I would like to ask you some questions that will help people get into the book, if I may.
Yeah, with pleasure.
Okay, so when you say the fourth industrial revolution, some people might say, wait, what happened to numbers 1 through 3? Because for some people, we might be thinking, we haven't worked through properly the previous industrial revolutions. Now, who might these be? Well, when we open the book and we say, and we read that, yes, well, the first industrial revolution, the one that began in England, had steam and power. It was about people manipulating hard materials to make things more efficiently and better. And then from there, we progressed through electricity, mass manufacturing, computers, and the fourth industrial revolution is about ubiquitous and mobile internet. It's about sensors that are small and powerful. It's about artificial intelligence and machine learning. It's about information and technology integrated into the very fabric of our everyday lives. And there are all kinds of magnificent, awe-inspiring spillovers that you describe in your book. The gene sequencing, nanotechnology, renewables, quantum computing, 3D printing, all of that's very attractive. But as you also describe in other parts of the book, whatever changes we have going forwards that have a hope for building this cooperative global architecture needs to be inclusive. It needs to bring everyone along. So I suppose my first question, that of somebody who wants to pick up the book and say, where should I go look? Where should I go look how you make the fourth industrial revolution inclusive? How do we get the 7 billion people on Earth who today, still over 1 billion live on less than $1 a day, 17% of the world have no regular access to electricity, much less the internet, much less smart sensors, much less desktop computing or smartphones or embedded devices. What is your vision as we go forwards building this global architecture to bring the fourth industrial revolution to everyone?
There are three challenges. The first one you mentioned, it is a fact that 1.4 billion people have not yet access to the benefits of the second revolution, which means electricity. And about half of humankind has not yet access to the benefits of the third industrial revolution, which means access to the internet, to broadband, or even to not so broadband communication means. That's my first comment. So, and we are facing a fourth technological revolution, which comes at a much faster speed compared to the previous revolutions. Just imagine if, apparently, if you take all scientists and all people, technicians and, or let's call it technology and science-oriented people who have been working on Earth since the beginning of humankind. Half of those is still alive today and is working today. Now, if you imagine that those people are better connected and have access to all the knowledge existing in the world, you can see the drive behind technological progress today. So my second point to answer your question is, one of the issues I see is that people are not able to cope anymore, even intellectually, with all the changes. How do you absorb what's going on? I consider myself to be one, based on my profession, certainly, maybe also on my age, to be one of the most informed people. But when I did the research of the book, I learned so many new things, and actually the world is so much developing. I started to write this book in last September, and I wrote it in 4 months. If I would write it today, I could add already a lot of new developments. A year ago, I had to explain even to a banker what fintech is. And today, I mean, everybody, every bank which wants to survive has to look into it. So my concern is when we look at the gap and see as a consequence is that this is a very disturbing progress for many people, and they just feel overwhelmed. And you develop some kind of a bunker mentality. You say, why not my little small world? And this creates a kind of tendency of egoism, maybe even nationalism, fundamentalism. You want to go back to the old world. So that's my second answer. My third answer is, and it's related to what I just said, the speed is so fast, and we can only speculate. One of the speculations is that about half of the jobs in the United States, a highly developed country, is threatened today to be replaced in the next 10, 15 years by artificial intelligence, robotization, three-dimensional printing, and so on. And that's, for example, also certainly one of the reasons for the success of presidential candidate Trump in the United States, because so many people are afraid to lose the job. And I would say today we are in a global situation where we can nearly distinguish between an elite population, which will have the benefits of all this fourth industrial revolution. We have at the upper end, and we have at the lower end the what you would call in the traditional language the proletariat, which means the people who just have Uberized work opportunities. They work on demand to a certain extent, like Uber drivers. And then you have the middle class. And the middle class is threatened because there's a constant fear to fall down. And some people call the middle class now labor rate, because they still have fixed jobs, but they are under constant fear to fall down to the proletariat.